Hello, this is Sycofear13, and today, me and my very close friend Greg have decided that we both want to post our opinions on the clans. This was originally going to be like a top 5 favorite clans, but he was like, I might as well just rank them all, and then that's what we decided to do. You can find the link to his channel in the description. His video should be up around the same time as this one. Anyway, let's go. To make this easier on myself and Greg, we decided that we are not going to count Tranger, the Mass Collection, Cray Elemental, or Token Ranbu in this list. Just so it's a little bit easier to get done. And because, you know, they're not real clans. Number 24. Bermuda Triangle. When I first started this game, I saw Bermuda Triangle. At that point, I was like, doesn't really seem like my thing. It stayed like that for a while until I eventually memed it myself. Ew, fish people, no. Around the start of G, I think it was the first keyword that came out, or at least one of the first, and Harmony looked kind of fun. It wasn't really my thing and it didn't stick with me. But then, then the later G showed up and everything became so much worse. Especially towards the end of G. Angie, fucking being able to get to stride before your opponent has ridden to grade 2. All that bullshit. It gets me mad just thinking about it. Number 23. Tashakaze. I used to have fun with Tashakaze back in the Ancient Dragon days. It was a pretty fun deck at the time. But it just kept getting fucked over. None of the G-era support seemed to be any good. Either the early or the late. Equip gauges became a thing. They aren't that good, which is a little bit sad, but it's even worse because now if I want to go and play premium, I can't mesh the decks. It just doesn't work. I've tried Rexes once and that was alright, but it's just not fun. Number 22. Pitama. Pitama in the start of the game. I think it was alright. I wasn't really there for Season 1. I know it was a hand-hate deck, and the hand-hate part of the deck is probably the good part of the deck that Bushy was, I assume, afraid of. Because the deck, as far as I'm aware, was never really that good for the rest of the original series. It got better with G. With the afterimage cards, it was pretty nice. It was decently fun, but it wasn't really a great deck that I could totally enjoy myself. But then Dominate showed up. And I was like, oh shit, this is fun! And then for the first time I fought Dominate and realized how much of a pain in the ass it is, and I hate it. It's up here mostly just because of that. When I play against Link Joker, it's sometimes okay. Because Delete hurts you a bit, but if you stride or reride, you're good. Lock can fuck you up, but there are ways to fight against it if you're playing a rearguard reliant deck. But Pitama will just fuck me over consistently unless I'm playing something fucking super OP. Number 21. Oracle Thinktank. Oracle Thinktank was one of those decks that I could never really connect with. I had some appreciation for Magus, and I liked Susanoo when he got a second set of G support in his secondary grade 3. But I never really liked it. And then the new shit started coming out, where it got guard restrict on G-guards and triggers. That annoyed me back then. Right now, I've heard people complaining still about the Ichi-Tom combo where they just stop guarding. Personally, I don't think it's that bad, but the deck is still kind of a pain in the ass, more because of OTT Geese. The new breed of OTT, it's just a gigantic pain in the ass and seems like there's nil any way to actually deal with it. Number 20. Great Nature. I don't have any gripes with Great Nature like I do with the rest of them. It's really one of those clans that I could never get into. None of the decks really suited me. I never had fun with it. I always tried it a bit, and then I stopped playing it, and it just kind of went on and off like that for a while. And that's kind of why it's here. It's not as bad as the rest, but it's certainly not fun to me. Number 19. Angel Feather. Angel Feather is similar to Great Nature, where I never had much fun playing it. the core difference between them is that I kind of get a little bit excited when I see someone else playing Age of Feather. It's a deck I don't really understand very well, and when I see someone playing it, I know the deck can be scary. That's for sure. So I like fighting against it, but I don't particularly like playing it. Number 18, Kagero. Kagero is one of those decks that is kind of fun. I liked Seal Dragons. I kind of like the new V support, but I don't truly like it. It's not a deck I pick up all the time and play it. It was definitely one of my favorites from the V-Series start. Between all the 3 decks they gave us, or 4 decks they gave us, I liked this one the most. Mostly because I could crit meme. But other than that, there's not really much that I truly enjoy about it, and that's why it's here. Number 17, Nova Grapplers. Nova Grapplers is a deck that I do not typically enjoy. However, a couple of decks, such as Beast Deities and Risers, I do have fun with. Beast Deities were not supported nearly enough to be fun to me. However, Risers in Premium, delicious. I love them. However, it's just not enough. Not truly enough for me to really like the clan. Number 16, Nectar. I do not like the new Nectar support. Even though I haven't seen most of the main shit for Nectar, tokens do not hold a place in this game, in my opinion. There is just not enough room in a deck for tokens to be a thing you can run. It'd be one thing if it was an Excel clan, that little extra circle holding an extra token, or calling something to let you have more room to call more tokens, but they don't. The reason it's above the last one is because I really liked Musketeers. They are a very fun deck. It's one of the few decks that I will go back to pretty often, but it's overall, the clan isn't that fun to me. Number 15, Royal Paladins. Royal Paladins held a similar place to a lot of the decks above this. I don't particularly care for the clan. However, I do care for Jewel Knights. Jewel Knights are fun. I loved Jewel Knights. I loved Crit Generation. It's probably one of my favorite types of decks. Decks that can just stack their own crits without pulling triggers. I also, to an extent, liked Alt Nile. However, there was no real deck that I had a disdain for, and it does have a couple of decks that I did enjoy, and that's why it's not closer to the top, but it's definitely not down at the bottom. Number 14, Genesis. There is only one Genesis deck that I like. However, I like it more than any of the decks before this. It is Fenrir, or aka Revelation. I liked the Revelation archetype when it was out. When Fenrir came out, I had fun with him for a bit, and then when Armada, whatever the hell her name is, came out, I had more fun with the deck, stacking it up, trying to mix it, having some fun with it. Other than that, there wasn't much, but what it did have I enjoyed more than most of the other decks below it. Number 13, Pale Moon. I like the V support for Pale Moon, first off. I think that the Excel circles give it a little bit extra push. It flows better than it used to, in my opinion. At least it feels that way to me. I also enjoyed Silverthorns back in the day. Silverthorns were my babies. It's one of the few decks that I actually fully built. It might not be very good, mostly because it was a bad build, but it was one of the ones that I liked enough to actually make. Number 12, Dark Irregulars. As a starter, I like Ammon. Ammon was my baby. When Ammon's Eye came out, he was the absolute shit. I liked it beforehand because, as said previously, crit generation, it's got massive power to come with that crit generation. But then, he came out and made the deck a monster. The deck, in early game, could push the opponents to 5 damage given the option. It was super rearguard reliant, but it was also clunky, but it was fun. V-Series. V-Series keeps the deck strong. I kinda like it. I won't say it's my favorite, for damn sure. I'm still testing it a bit, but from what I know of it now, I like the deck. Number 11, Spike Brothers. V support, first off. General Siegfried. I really, like General Siegfried. I like both his V version, and I like it because he was made from the original. When I first played Ride to Victory, I tried to get General Siegfried, and I loved him to death. He was amazing. V-Series is nice. He's not quite the same, but he's still very fun. Dudleys were fun. Charge was less fun and more of a fucking brain teaser to get the deck to actually function the way I wanted it to. None of the decks, at least from what I could tell, were particularly strong, but I enjoyed them. Into the top 10, at number 10, we have Grand Blue. I like Night Rose. Night Rose, I believe, is the only real Grand Blue deck that I enjoy. Hollow was one of the first keywords to come out, if I recall correctly, and it made me so happy. Every keyword I loved when it came out, but this one in particular made the deck feel right, unlike old Grand Blue. Old Grand Blue didn't feel right to me. This deck I really enjoyed, and I actually kind of still play it in Premium as of now that it's gotten V support. Speaking of V support, I really like the V support for Grand Blue. The V support for Grand Blue I enjoy greatly. Kokaitis, if I'm getting his name right, my apologies. I love, as I've said previously, crit generation. If it can generate a crit, it is my baby. The fact that you can get 20k boost to your Vanguard, generate an extra crit, and call a little fucking dragon monster that can hit your opponent with 50k per turn is love. Holding a spot at number 9 is Aqua Force. The V support for Aqua Force was something I was really iffy on for quite a while. But then the ultimate meme that I had discovered, and by discovered I mean stolen, was the no gift giving 12k that got 20k on its 4th swing or more of the turn. Once I started playing the deck more for restanding than I was for Maelstrom, the deck became a lot more fun. I also have a very intense love for Blue Wave. Specifically, Valios. I liked Blue Wave beforehand, but when Valios came out, he made the deck intimidating. As where before Aqua Force could easily be shut down, he brought me extra draws, which the deck required, and also locked my opponent's power in place, which made it almost impossible to guard all the attacks consistently, except they could, because the deck isn't that great, sadly. Number 8, Narukami. Narukami is a deck I often overlook when I think about something I want to play. The number 1 deck that I enjoy most for this clan is Vanquisher. Vanquisher started off kind of fun. See, I went through Stride to Victory recently, and I started building up his deck. It's interesting. It doesn't have a keyword, but it feels like it should have a keyword. The second up is Dungaree. Dungaree is a meme! I love memes, as everyone on this channel who's been here for a while knows. I also, to an extent, enjoy Eradicators. They're fun, but they aren't a deck that I would like to consistently play. And an often overlooked deck in the clan I overlook, Brawlers. Brawlers are such a fun deck, but they're so unwieldy. They don't work against a lot of the decks that you end up fighting, which is the disappointing part of it for as good of a deck as it feels like it should be. Number 7, Mega Colony. Particularly, Machining. I really like Machining. Machining is one of my main decks. It's a deck that I consistently play, whether it be in premium or standard format. It disappoints me a bit that Machining changed in standard, but I still enjoy them for what they are, and being able to drag that into premium makes the deck a whole lot sweeter. I have never been a fan of most of the other deck builds for it, but it being one of my favorites puts the clan up a lot higher. Number 6, Gear Chronicle. This deck is up here for the same reason Mega Colony is up here. One of my main decks is inside of it, that deck being Chronofang. I love Chronofang with a passion. When he first came out, he was interesting. He was different from Chronojet, which I had grown to fucking hate. And as more support for the deck came out, the deck became more interesting and more scary. The bind element was an idea that I hadn't been introduced to too in-depth before. I liked it in the leaders, but it felt like it didn't have any real purpose. Vanquisher had it, and it was kind of fun. But the way Chronofang did it made it feel great. It didn't give you a win condition at the start. It tried to, but it was beatable, which was nice. And as the deck grew, you could separate it from that main stride, whose name escapes me at the moment, with Chronofang Tiger Rebellion, who crit, quad drive, and just hit for shit tons of power. The new one came out, and it just wipes your opponent's entire field away. I like this deck, and that's why the clan is up here. Number 5 is Dimension Police. Unlike the two before it, it is not a main deck. However, as I have stated before, I love Crit Generation. Crit Generation is my favorite thing in the game. From V-Series, it gave Crit Generation, it gave multi-attacking with the Vanguard. Multi-attacking with the Vanguard being another of my favorite things in this game. And that's just in Standard. In Premium, when you use the new Commander Laurel with the Gallop Stride that restands himself, doubling his power, hitting for hundreds of thousands while also swinging with an extra crit, and then restanding, that's my favorite combo in the deck. I don't particularly feel for any of the other decks, but I like that build. And overall, the clan is a nice thing. I kind of like D-Robos. I kind of like Enigman. The clan itself is very nice. It is a deck that I enjoy to play pretty often, and you will see me playing it decently often. Number 4, Gold Paladin. One of the first trial decks I had gotten was the Liberator trial deck, the original one. I was more into the old school Liberators than I was into the Bluish Flame Liberators. I liked the deck. I loved the infinite break ride you got with Holy Shine Dragon. I actually tried to adapt Holy Shine Dragon into Stride form just to get more calls and to adapt the deck into G. After I stopped doing that, I tried Gurgut, who I still enjoy to this day. He was fun to the start, and he was fun with the new support. I liked him mostly because he was a defensive deck. Most of the decks I played were full on offense. Fuck everyone up, beat him up, punch him in the face. And that deck was mostly defense. You got Slimy, call cards to the Guardian Circle, and intercept the call cards to the Guardian Circle. GB2, defend yourself. But at the same time, it can also call an entire force to fill your formation after you've lost it trying to guard. And when the Unite keyword came out, it was even better. Taking its place at number 3, Murakumo. I never liked Murakumo until G happened. Shadow Stitch is probably still one of my favorite G decks. I love the fact that you punch your opponent in the face until they need to stop you punching them in the face, and then because they stopped letting you punch them in the face, you punch them in the face more. Shiryuki. Another mechanic in this game I love is power reduction. Although I always tend to use it in an offensive way, using it defensively was nice too. Being able to defend myself with a deck similar to Gold Paladin's felt nice, but I also liked pushing their Vanguard or their Rearguard below the required amount to hit me. We have 2 clans left, and the 2 clans that are left are both super edgy. Number 2, we have Shadow Paladins. My favorite Shadow Paladin deck is Luard. Ritual made the clan for me. It would have probably been number 5 if it didn't have Luard, because Ritual is my favorite keyword. When it first came out, I was like, oh shit, that's my shit. And then eventually they came out with Ritual X, which is then, just math. You got 4 cards in your drop zone, and then for every 4 grade 1s or whatever the fuck, you get a bonus. It was nice. I loved it. It made the deck so much more interesting. You had a lot more mechanics to play with, and the deck was still strong. You got Claret Sword Dragon. He was less strong, but he was an interesting deck to play around with. As where originally he was kind of a full call, fuck your field up, basic Shadow Paladin, he eventually built up into another defensive deck, which in Premium is pretty fun. I love calling 10k grade 1s and then throwing them to the Guardian Circle. My second favorite, kind of almost tying with Luard, Witches. Boy, they are the most fun fucking deck to have. They take a lot of my favorite things. Number 1, power reduction. Number 2, memeing your opponent. They can reduce your opponent's Vanguard's grade, which, you know, isn't as good anymore because of the new ruling changes. But it was fun at the time. Revengers. Specifically, Raging Form. More specifically, Raging Wrapped. Raging Form was a fun deck for me, but when Raging Wrapped came out and I saw that I could restand more than once per turn, I built a meme deck. That meme deck was an attempt to restand, or restride, Raging Wrapped Dragon 3 times in the same turn, giving me GB4 on the next turn. It worked. One fucking time that deck worked, and I was so proud. I loved it. I still love it because of that. It's not my favorite deck build out of them all, but I love this one too. And I love a lot of the decks from Shadow Paladin, that's why it's here. Here's number 1. Those of you that have been paying attention know what it is, and those of you who have been here long enough know what it is. Number 1 is Link Joker. It is my favorite clan. It was my favorite clan when I first found it, and it's my favorite clan today. My main build is Starvaders. I used to play Nebula Lord, but then it just didn't get support. The deck didn't get any support. And then I realized, hey, what's that? And I saw Chaos Universe. At that point, I was like, oh shit, Starvaders still have a thing, and I switched over to Chaos Breaker Dragon. Later in, the deck, towards the end of G, got a shit ton of support. The deck melted people. It fucked everyone's day up. That is not the only reason it's here, though. Even though it is my main deck, Messiah. Messiah was fun. When it first came out, it was an interesting mechanic. It wasn't just fuck your opponent, it was fuck everything. Destroy your field to make more attacks, destroy your opponent's field in the process. The leaders were fun. The leaders are still fun. I love power reduction, and I've said it before, I'll say it forever. Power reduction, if I had to pick one mechanic in this game to be my favorite, power reduction is probably it. Although it's a little bit more weak into leaders because I like making my opponent go negative. It's real fun to see him go negative. But bringing them to 0 and making it so they can't do shit for most of the turn, oh, that's nice. I like that. And my meme, my favorite meme in the entire game, Branded. The card that reverses trigger effects. Sadly less effective now that, you know, we got new triggers and the power went up so it doesn't stop the 5k anymore. However, it's still fun. It's a meme. I love memes. Grr! And that's why it's number 1. Hey, so my dumbass forgot to record an outro for the whole video you just watched, so here it is. Go watch Greg's version of this in the description.